Okay, so this is the Fumoto F137S. This is for the oil cooler. Okay. These are not what they call NPT or National Pipe Thread. These are not tapered threads. Okay, so the only thing that's keeping oil from getting out when you tighten this is your washer right here. And so it is recommended, generally speaking, to use a product like this, okay? High temperature thread sealant. Okay, this is not Loctite. It's a thread sealant and it's oil resistant. It's designed specifically for these exact type of applications. You just put a little bit of that thread sealant towards the front side, right? Towards this inside here. Put a little bit there, and then you can tighten it down to 20 foot-pounds, no problem. The tightening of this to 20 foot-pounds, okay? So there's a few ways that you can do this. One, you want to definitely use a mid-grade torque wrench. And what do I mean by mid-grade? Something that starts around 10 foot-pounds and tops out around 70 or 80. If your torque wrench is going all the way up to 150 or 200 foot-pounds, that torque wrench is not the right torque wrench for this job. You're going to use a crowfoot or clawfoot wrench like this, which you can actually put right around the housing of the unit. Now, if you can't get that around the housing, then you can use a 16 millimeter socket on the backside here. If you have this nipple, put a 16 mil socket on here and you can torque it down. And that's effectively what I had to do up here. I couldn't get my clawfoot wrench around the body of this unit just because of the, rack and pinion steering here and everything. And so I got this, I believe it's a 16 millimeter socket, and I just went right onto there like that, and I torqued it down to 20 foot-pounds, no problem. So one of the things, that thread sealant, right? The threaded opening here, the female, threaded opening needs to be clean. You have to clean it out, right? So get all the oil out, clean it real good, and then you got to thread this in real quick before the oil contaminates it again. Otherwise, that thread sealant's not going to do a damn bit of good if it gets contaminated in its liquid form with oil. So how do we do that over here? With this thing just keeps on dripping and dripping and dripping forever, right? Well, we use a pneumatic bleeder. Link to buy this a pneumatic bleeder in the description. It's about $30, $40. And if you got a little air compressor, which if you're working on your own car, you probably do. So this pneumatic bleeder, and you can see how much I've already bled out of there. You just kind of stick this nipple and you just hold it up there on that opening, and you'll be like, wow, there's a ton of oil coming out. So you bleed and bleed and bleed, and then take it off, let it drip some more, bleed it some more until more or less, you're only getting one drop every probably 5 seconds or so. Then you can clean the threads, and you can put your Fumoto valve in there real quick. Now, if you're going to use that pneumatic bleeder, it's going to draw a vacuum on the system. It's not, a tremendous vacuum, okay? But it's a good enough vacuum. So you want to make sure that you definitely have this open before you start drawing vacuum on the system, okay? So I'm gonna, keep on bleeding this out here, and then I'm gonna install this guy. Now we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I'm in the process of installing the Fumoto valve here on the oil cooler, right? And what do you need to know, right? So that valve is gonna go right here, but this, you can't screw it on with this pipe in the way, okay? So you have to just move this pipe out of the way. So what do? You slide, this is a kind of a guard, a protection guard. You slide this guard back from this side over here. And then there's a little spring clip. You're gonna need a pair of needle nose pliers and a little flathead screwdriver, and you can remove this spring clip from that assembly up there, okay? And then this pipe right here, gently slide this out. Now oil's gonna come out, so be ready for that. Have your pan, have your paper towels ready. A little oil's gonna come out of there. Then you can thread your Fumoto valve in there and seal it up. Okay, we've got the Fumoto valve fully installed on the oil cooler here. Let's just see if we can get some good focus on that. So that's what it looks like, this pipe, right? We talked about moving that one a little bit, right? Just so you can thread this on. Now, I did have to torque this on a little bit more than 20 foot-pounds. Probably more like 27 to 30 foot-pounds potentially. because this, nozzle that sticks out here was actually sticking out at 90 degrees and poking right where this hose needs to go, right? Where this line needs to go here, right? So I did have to rotate this entire fixture an additional 90 degrees past the 20 foot-pound mark so that I could get this to point down and have plenty of clearance, right? So I have, at least half an inch of clearance, so it's not rubbing on this at all. So, I mean, it was fine, right? It's fine. I mean, I put some thread sealer on there, and so, and it's brass, right? So it's soft, aluminum soft, brass is soft, and it went in there okay without any issues, right? So when you have the car up like this, after you're all done, right? You've got, both, Fumoto valves installed, this one over here and this one here and everything. Because we touched this, because we removed this line, we're gonna have to run the engine for a little bit and make sure that we don't have any leaks there before we put this cover back up into place, right? We really want to monitor that and make sure it looks good. And if you want to, do a quick monitor, right? You can pull this white clip back right here and just kind of take a look at it, just to make sure that like nothing's coming out there, and then you're good to throw the cover back on. Yeah, so these are the underside kind of engine covers for the underside of the engine here. So to remove these, you've got a 10 millimeter here, here, and here. There's little wing tabs on the left and the right hand side, if you can see the wing tab. Once you remove those bolts, you just slide that off the wing, okay? And your oil cooler, your oil cooler is up under this section right here. So this guy has here where you see those are 7 millimeter screws with the nut heads on them. So they're kind of like screw nuts. There's let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those, okay? In each one of these, you have a pin, like one of the pull pins. So you pull the pin out, pull that out. And then you have a bunch of pull pins. You have more pull pins over here. So you have one here, here, and here. And same thing on the other side. Exact same thing. So you have 3 here, 3 on this side, 4 on the other. Here, and here. And then that just comes out real nice, right? So no issue there, right? Now, let's talk about the filters a little bit, right? So I'm going to install this Mobile One filter. I've been topping that off. There's about a half a quart in there right now, and you can see where the level is inside. So half a quart, I got to fill it up a little bit more and let it sit. But one thing to note about the design of this filter is that the pinch points here, right, where they pinch to keep this seal in here, to keep the seal from coming out. The seal just doesn't come out of there, right? You can watch review videos on that where guys are trying to get that seal out, and it's really in there. The seal on this one, however, the pinches, they don't really hold the seal in very well. So I just removed the factory filter up under here. And what you can see, and this is something, right, if you haven't been changing oil for a long time, I've been doing it for over 20 years. You see that black ring there? Well, that's the seal from the filter. So you have to just double check, triple check. Make sure you pull that down. It's just stuck on there. This is my first oil change on the vehicle. So the factory filter, it was torqued on there to like probably 50 or 60 foot-pounds. So way too much torque. Way too much, right? So that's not good. Anyway, I've been letting this thing drain for a while, and I have about just shy of 600 miles on the car. So just shy of 600 miles. And I got to tell you, the oil, not only does it smell bad, like really, like abnormally bad in comparison. I've been changing oil, like I said, for over 20 years. It is black, like really black, okay? So definitely, don't wait for 3,000 miles. Change it at 500 and change it at 1,500. Then you can go every 3. So we got, the drain plug out right under there. We pulled the filter out. I got this huge green bin. This will hold, I think, 12 quarts. about 12 quarts maybe here. And then, you know, I pulled out the oil drain plug from the cooler there. And that's about both this particular plug and the oil pan plug are 20 foot-pound spec, okay? So 20 foot-pound. One of the things to note is when you're removing or tightening on that particular fitting there, you're gonna wanna get a wrench like this. And just behind the fitting, you see the square block? Yeah, you wanna put the wrench on that so that you're not twisting this pipe right here, okay? You don't wanna put torsion on that. So you gotta hold it with a wrench on the backside, and then you can use one of these to take off the drain bolt itself, okay? Before you throw your covers back up under here, just get like a towel or a little whisk broom and just whisk all the sand and rocks that like build up under here everywhere, especially on this rubber seal. Get rid of all the sand and rocks everywhere, and then reinstall. And then the other thing you might want to do is if you have sand or rocks or grit that are on any of these fittings, clean all these up, get all the sand and rocks and grit off of everything here, because it creates problems, right? You know, the fasteners, you know, they get damaged, they don't hold as well, the threads start getting stripped, you get all kinds of problems. So keep everything clean, for sure, keep it clean.